playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Three people up on Facebook, so it looks like we're doing all right.
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Why so serious?
I can crush you like a worm.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no try.
All right, hey everyone, welcome to us bringing back BYOB Friday night. Chats, whatever you want to call them. They're not fireside chats because
the adult version of coffee with
the adult version of coffee.
Shall we?
So we're gonna start off
First
this
off,
night.
Appreciate this.
All right, so I never understood why everyone does a dainty wine pour. Like this whole, you get this giant glass, and then they like just barely put a little dribble in it. You know, that must be. I think that's a French thing.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know where it
starts.
started. All I know is I'm drinking a Viking portion.
Is it because of the alcoholic?
I don't know.
Properties.
I don't know.
That is a lot of.
I'm just saying this is what this week demands. So I hope you guys understand. So I want to raise a toast to everyone out there who survived this week. I know it's been a rough week, so let's get it on with a toast here.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Cheers. I love that toast.
If you all are joining in, let us know what you're drinking.
I love this saying.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Because that's what we need a lot of right now, everyone, right? Strength and honor. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I was attempting to come on here and try to cheer everyone up. And I am so down in the dumps right now with everything that's going on. Makers 46, right. Nice. I'm doing some red wine. I'm glad to hear what you guys. Yep. Well, awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. But there's been so much bad news. So much bad news in the onslaught of stuff. And heck, I don't even know. I was watching Steve Bannon live and I watched them pull him down. So, if we get pulled down, we will reboot over on MeWe. If you're not on MeWe, get over there. They haven't been deplatformed yet. But it seems like it might be only a matter of time. But MeWe is where we are. It's just like Facebook, except better. So anyways, MeWe over there, Patriot Crusader Mission. I see a lot of these faces over there have already found those, and I'm glad you guys are drinking. So let's get where we need to be before this conversation. So again, this is for Monday.
Surviving the weekend, whatever it brings.
Strength and honor.
This is for Tuesday.
Strength and honor,
I
strength
see
and honor.
why you did that big pour.
This is for Wednesday.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Oh, wow.
What about Thursday and Friday?
Oh, that's right.
The week
This
continues.
is 2021's been great. You guys thought 2020 was bad. 2021.
Strength and honor.
Here we go.
Strength and honor.
Sharon, yes, Apple is wanting to get rid of Parlor. That's why Friday's drink is going to be extra
And then
special.
here is Friday.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Jan, I might need a refill, but I also don't drink like that. So
Yeah, Lauren can't jug worth a
I
darn.
can make seven cheers worth still last plenty.
Yeah, whereas, as you can see, my very tall glass is now not so very tall. And for you guys out there, I know you'll appreciate this. This is Trump Cab Sav, year 2016, the greatest year of my lifetime in this republic. Don't we all wish we could go back to 2019? Holy smokes, pre-COVID, booming business, life was amazing. Trump was going to get reelected again. And we all thought, life was we could just keep traveling on the way it was, right? And then the China virus, COVID-19 hit. And now we now know why. This is the whole reason for this whole thing.
Yeah.
If you look at this, none of this is possible without COVID. None of this is possible.
It would've been very different
All of our
anyways,
freedoms, all the voting, you wouldn't be able to do the mail-in vote. You wouldn't be able to do all that stuff. So, and you can see it all. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I make fun of conspiracy theorists, but you could definitely say, hey, let's create a scary flu that isn't really going to be all that fatal or just kill the old people who cost us a lot of money anyways. And we'll get to seize world power.
Yeah. I mean, and the same thing as far as the event that happened Wednesday of whether...
Great people. Sorry, Bruce used to work at Trump Winery. They're a client of ours. They're great people. I just reached out to Carrie Woolard and let her know that if they need anything, we're here.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
So,
But just as, it's going back and forth was Wednesday a setup and kind of a Democratic plan, or are they just taking advantage of it? And you can say the same thing as far as COVID goes. Was it their plan, or did they just take advantage of it?
yeah, so the news, they just announced it.
Didn't Pelosi say, don't ever let a good virus go to waste?
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So Chris Scott, or Scott as I know you, both Google, so GE phone or Android and Apple have suspended or taken down Parler. So now, guess what? We need to have an entrepreneur start a conservative phone company that produces phones.
Oh, so as far as, Parler, they have, 24 hours, I think, to implement all of these very, very harsh restrictions, which go against what Parler was even created for.
Yeah.
So I'll be surprised if they cooperate with this. But,
Yeah.
if they're also being threatened at being deplatformed in that way, then, business has to do what business has to do. And it's going to be interesting to see where they kind of stand on their morals.
All right, so I've had a lot of people send me clips of footage of police supposedly escorting people through the building and all that stuff. And I want to dispel this stuff right away. All right, and this is again why it was so unfair for that girl to be shot. She had been encountering police and retreating police. Like there's one, it looks like he's a black police officer who's literally, pointing at them. He pulls his baton like he's going to hit them, yelling at them, and he's retreating because he's one guy against a mob, right? The other guys, looks like they were falling back to their position, like they were overrun. There were like 6 dudes against thousands of people. They're not going to hold that.
Is that outside that you saw?
That's the outside one.
Yeah, there is one I just watched. Mike might have shared it. I know that he's on. He can confirm that shows them. It seems like that shows them basically just opening the doors and escorting them inside. And again, it's perception. It's what's going on.
Escorting or monitoring them inside, right? So escorting can have a different thing. If you can't stop them, they can't stop them, right? They can't use lethal, those guys were not going to use lethal force at that point. There was no way they could justify that. So they literally are going with them, waiting for them to commit a felony or waiting for the cavalry to show up where they could actually effect an arrest.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone judging the cops on that, just stop.
Yeah.
I got into a lot of beef. Or a lot
so Mike is using the word allowing them in.
Yeah, allowing. That's correct. Tucker said Trump said on the POTUS Twitter thread that he is not going away and other things. I missed it. Yeah, I'm sure he is not going to go away, and I'm sure he's going to say a lot of things right now. But I never thought he would concede, and I never thought he would concede, and I never thought that. I think people were already on the other side of that building there, brother. And I don't believe anything I hear anymore unless I see it, witness it, or anything else. All I know it was an unwinnable situation. There were thousands of people there that could have done whatever they wanted to, and guess what? Cops are conservatives too. How many of those guys? Most of them are.
Yes, for people to be saying, the cops were in on it. I mean, how do they think that they got the entire police presence there to be in?
No,
on,
here is what I heard, and this is from a listener whose family lives in D.C. and has people who are cops. They didn't even have a full pop. A full pop is a term where everybody is forced to work. And they have you there in riot gear. The SWAT teams are there. The state police is there to augment. Regional SWAT teams come in to assist. And you're there with QRF, and you're there in a big, strong line to prevent anything from escalating, right? They were at half power and on standby at home. Yeah. Right. So again, the police chief resigned.
Spun now for either side, for talking points on either side. I saw a liberal that I am still friends with on Facebook share an article about that very thing, about how the police presence was pretty light, and using that to show that it was an intentional effort to make this coup or insurrection, and so that was on purpose on the right. And whereas people on the right are saying that was in order to for the Antifa and all of that stuff. So any little tidbit of anything that's coming out right now is being spun both ways. So.
Well, and that's why don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe anything right now. And that's why you heard me say on Thursday and Wednesday when I got back is let time settle out and let the investigation happen and figure this out. So Tim Terry confirms for us, that there was no full pop. All right, full pop. Should have been mandatory for that.
You'd think going in
not only they should have pre-staged the National Guard for that because of what's going on. But guess what, guys? They wanted this to happen. Right, the left wanted this to happen, so all it takes for the left to become pro-cop is for a pro-cop to die by a supposed Trump protester, and now they're the most pro-cop anything. But let me address this tragedy. All right, one, for the person who murdered the police officer, I hope you burn in hell for that. Beating somebody upside the head with a fire extinguisher that's what they're saying happened. Gave him a concussion. He went and died of a head injury later. There's no place for that. All right. Sometimes things happen. I've seen people die from a punch to the face. All right. They get hit in the face, they hit the ground, and they get a head injury, and that happens. That's accidental. Yeah. That person should be tried for murder. Right? Yeah. The people who aided him in doing what he did should try him for murder, and that should happen.
You'll have to assume that there was a lot of video footage over the ground.
There's going to be video footage. I've already looked at the FBI's already put out 40 pictures of people they want from inside cameras and social media, because everyone ratted themselves out with social media.
Yeah, so dumb.
And
that's going to be when we get the answers. The more conclusive answers of, have these guys been identified as Antifa in the past, or are they all Trump people? I think until then, stop spreading stuff around.
But here's the thing:
doing your own sleuthing and all that stuff.
Under a Biden administration, is anyone going to trust that?
Anything that comes out.
Anything that comes out of any finding that they do, I'm not going to trust a single word they ever say. Yeah. Like, unless I witness it, I see it myself,
do you think they would release the names, or you're saying that
I'm just saying I don't believe it. For anyone who may be concerned that we may run out, we have another bottle of unopened and more in the wine cellar over there.
Oh, wine cellar, right.
Not where are we right now? We are in the basement, and there's wine over there. That equals wine cellar.
Yeah, right.
All right?
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Lauren's already getting tipsy. She's had several sips.
I'm tipsy just because I called our very informal wine cellar a closet.
Is there a shelf in there with wine on it? Multiple shelves of wine in there?
Is it climate controlled?
It is. It's in the basement and it's cool. And we have a dehumidifier down here.
Yeah. All right.
I wish Buddy Weber was watching right now. He would say that.
At Trump Winery, tell us whether our basement qualifies as a wine cellar.
It's a cellar with wine in it, therefore it's a wine cellar.
McNeely is roasting your diet. Is
wine
that's
all right.
On a diet?
I've got good news. So since I started the Crucible Challenge, I'm down 5.6 pounds in 4 days. Tomorrow I hope to be a little bit lighter. So here's to that.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
That is
Mike
a wine
said
cellar.
it is a
Mike
wine
agreed.
cellar.
All right, I stand corrected.
Yeah, exactly. And there you go. So I also heard that Pelosi's laptop got stolen out of there. Tell me that isn't a gold mine. Tell me whoever has that, I hope they hack that and get in there and dump everything she's got, because that could be the whole world right there.
Yeah, I mean,
you got mad. I'm going to dime you out here.
No,
You're
I was gonna say
they took her laptop.
I was just saying that
You were saying?
for us to be coming out and saying, you know, picking apart kind of what happened at the Capitol and the good and the bad and what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened, theft within the Capitol building, I classified as bad. And then you were like, no, it's great. They're going to dump all the secrets. So
Yeah, exactly. So can we talk about a difficult thing? And my friend, I've lost 2 pounds, but we'll add it on tonight. I hear you, brother. Dave Abbott, good to see you, man. This special ops told him, yeah. So, I'm down 5.6 tonight. I'm going to drink my fill, and maybe I'll be that in the morning, but it is wine.
he'll
right?
share with you.
My
what
diet
damage
has
is-
been flawless, and let me
He's
tell
been
you.
doing great.
So let me tell you something. After Wednesday, and for those of you who aren't typically religious, who might be friends of mine who are just coming in to support the program, I appreciate that. But I just want to tell you the power of something that I did that really changed everything for me. So like I said, I've struggled with weight my entire life, up and down, and the only time I got in shape is when I was angry. So I would get angry, get ripped, and as long as I was angry, I was good to go. The second I wasn't angry, I go back to being comfortable, right? And in my family, food was love. There was a lot of screaming, there was a lot of stuff going on, and basically that was how that's where we did our bonding, that's where we did everything. So whenever I wanted comfort and love, that's where I got it, right? So, time and time again, I'm not angry anymore. How can I be angry? I'm married to the most amazing wife in the world. I got an amazing family, amazing life. My country's going to hell, so I am able to get hungry. Not angry again, not hungry, angry. And so there is that. But I didn't like who I was when I was angry, right? Being angry and using that as a fuel. And I started watching, I'm trying to, when you're starting working out in the morning and you can't listen to violent, angry music anymore because it turns you off and you feel like it's not a part of what's doing. Like, music used to be my soul. Like, it would feed my fuel, my anger. And everything I did was to do that, and it would make me feel invincible. I mean, my adrenaline would rise and I would run through a wall. I mean, even being afraid of heights and being a SEAL and jumping out of a plane, I'd have the angriest, most evil music on in my ears because that's what I needed to get out the door, right? So, after I did a lot of reflection, I was looking at this. Hey, boss, what is that fine wine you're drinking? All the SEALs I serve would drink. MD, floorboard temp, enough said Senior Chief. Hey, Senior Chief. Just to let you know, I think you're going to want to take that back. That is Trump wine 2016, homie. So there you go. So what I was, and Jesus drank wine. So if Jesus drank wine, it's cool with me.
Amen.
So, and I found it late in life. But anyways, getting back to, my struggles is that, I didn't want to be an angry person. I didn't want to be raging all the time. I didn't want to have the hate that would start going there because it really gets powerful. And potentially right now, you can understand how much hate could be in someone's heart going through what's going on out there. So what I ended up doing is I brought Jesus into the middle of it. All right. And I promise I'll only go over this and then we can go back to talking politics and everything else out there. But I basically said, I'm going to do this for God. So if I don't stick to it, everyone knows that my faith in God is garbage, right? My faith in God is garbage. Yeah. And that, I'm one of those phony Christians who says I'm going to stop sinning and I'm not going to, and I'm all talk, no action. And the second I did that, all my desires went away. Let me tell you where it was tested. Me and my buddy Paul Race, who's the only one of my friends who would go to the rally with me. I'm just saying. And we went to the rally. And, we left and we're heading back, and it was bad, guys. We were really low. Everything was going down. And we're
Brandy,
just like,
no, you do not have to drink.
and, we're talking, we're like, man, we should hit Maggiano's, which is one of my favorite restaurant chains in the entire world, for the chicken parm. And I'm like, nah, let's just go get barbecue and I'll just have meat. I have never passed up Maggiano's in my life.
That's the truth.
Particularly in the South, where you can't get good Italian food except Lawrence or Mike Ferruccio's house. Mike, I'm going to give you that out there. So what's BS?
I think saying the only friend that went was Paul.
Mike, this is a Christian channel. No cursing there. Holy smokes. This is the guy who used to lecture me on cursing all the time. All right. Although Ken says that the shot word is allowed. Is allowed.
Yeah,
He says allowed.
Justification for that you get one.
And he's saying that it's a thing.
Okay.
It's something. So he was cool with it, but he didn't try.
You were trying to pass ASS off tonight on me as being okay.
And they say ass in some translations of the Bible. If the word is listed in the Bible, it's legit. Would you not say?
In context for what it is being used
So
for.
wait a minute. So now a word is not legit if it's...
I'm just saying ass as in donkey is one thing, ass as in butt is another.
What if the term ass as we use to your butt is applied to mean a donkey, meaning your ass is a donkey? Meaning, you dumbass, you're a donkey. You see what I'm saying here? Hold on a second. Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
Why am I choosing to that? And Mike was wondering where strength and honor was coming from. I don't know if that clip or what.
Strength and honor, that's from Gladiator, man. What's wrong with you? Holy smokes, you just epically failed the movie challenge, Mike. One of the greatest movies of all time, as well as...
At my signal, unleash hell.
McNeely said that sounded so wrong. So I'm I'm even gonna cheers that one. So it's been a rough week, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. All right. So Julie Ray bought a bottle of Trump Heritage Red today.
Very
She
good
said,
stuff.
I'll drink it to celebrate when this mess turns right side up.
We're not celebrating. That is not what we're doing. But I think that's great and optimistic that you're doing that. I had 100 people, not 100. I had a lot of people share with me more Linwood pipe dream stuff that Trump's getting ready to declare, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, this is the final
I
nail
have
in all the
had
traitors.
my heart ripped out so many darn times. I will never trust Rudy Giuliani. I will never trust any of them again. I'm not saying that the system didn't let him down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that
They
the
could have
deep
brought
state
all of the
wasn't
right
too.
stuff to the court
I'm
in the
just
world.
saying, I'm just saying that I'm not
Yeah.
going to trust them when they say they got something. I'm not. It's more like
I think
an Irish.
I think it's how they framed it. They could say we've got some great stuff, but this is going to take the courts taking this seriously in order for this to happen. They came so conclusive on there's going to be so many arrests and this is all a guarantee, without qualifying that the courts have to be on the up and up as well.
Yeah,
And
what do you do with a society?
Their case could have been fantastic and tight with how much evidence they had, and it wouldn't have mattered if these courts didn't even listen to it, which is what happened.
Well, I just think the whole darn system is so corrupt, and they just want to go back to normal.
So
and they're
Julie's
so
saying
afraid.
that's not who I listen to. So who else are you getting information from that you are saving that bottle of wine for?
But here's my thing. So let's assume, and this is worst case scenario, that that Trump is out. What do we do? Literally, what do we do? Right?
Well, we don't communicate on Facebook and
Here's
Twitter anymore.
what I'm telling all my friends to do. And I did a special on this not too long ago in one of our podcasts. Download the app Signal. It's encrypted, which who knows how well that does, but it's not an Apple product. It's not a Facebook product. It's not any of these other, like WhatsApp is Facebook, right? Which was the other one that people were using for a long time now. So communicate. If you want to ask me what I had for dinner, you can do that on Apple or whatever. Yep. If you want to talk about politics and anything where I'm going to mention Trump or anything else going forward, do it in Signal because I don't trust anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So how does Signal work? Is it a username?
Yeah, it's a username. You log in. It uses your phone. You got to enter a code to get in there and all
So
kinds of.
do you need to share with you want to share?
No,
with
no, everyone can
others?
find me if they have your phone number. It goes off your phone number.
It goes off. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so it goes off your phone number and it pulls up your phone number for that.
Homestead in Montana. He wants to go to Montana.
I want to go to
I'd be
Montana
happy
so
to visit
bad,
Montana.
but
Mama
won't.
doesn't want to live in many feet of snow.
Mama's got a lot of limitations. I love Mama. She's the best. She's the reason I open my eyes in the morning. But she comes with a lot of baggage on where we can go. Like, Maine would have been really cool, I think, in the end. But we had issues we had to work
time
out.
For anyone who's been watching us since the summer, how much BITCH-ing did he do about Maine while we were there, and the bugs, and the weather, and the people, and the it's flat and not pretty, and
There was a really pretty place. It's called Bar Harbor, and that
and
far
how
east.
full of liberals is Bar Harbor?
Yeah, but no. Up on the other side of the water there, on the eastern shore, you got loggers and lobstermen and.
Thank you, Amy Jean. Your hair looks good. Wifey did great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, Lauren, we did a a home haircut with the buzzer things.
I'm not gonna say it looks perfect,
Yeah.
but it'll do.
It'll work for now.
do.
Right. It probably could use a few straight, cleanups of them. But it was way better than the shag I had.
Yes.
Right. So, by the way, Salty Sam is Sandy. I thought the other Scott. I thought Chris Scott was San Diego Scott. But anyways, all right. I just joined Gab. No app. It's on the web. Yeah, I've got a Gab account.
That's what Trump, you said, is behind, right?
Yeah, I saw a statement from Gab where they were saying, hey, this is our time. Trump's coming over here, blah, 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 blah. We're in negotiations with them and all that. And maybe that's the case. And, of course, I'll get a Gab account if that's it. The main thing is I really enjoy MeWe. But, again, I don't know how, I'm not optimistic about anything until we get, a phone computer company that says they're not going to play this game. Does anyone out there want half of the U.S.'s population's business?
Because it's been one thing for the apps themselves to be saying we're gonna shut this down or censor this or yada yada, but now for the phone itself to say we won't even let you have the app on your phone, that's next. That's really taking it to the next level. Sure. So we have a comment from Mike Ferrugia. What should we do? Spread the word of Jesus, make disciples, live as best you can like Jesus, follow what the Bible teaches. This is what we are supposed to do, like it or not. If there was an army formed to fight or a state seceding, those would be options for sure. What else? Yeah. So, again, some people are followers and some people are leaders. George Washington could have just went with a program. He was far more zealous in his beliefs of God than us. His first flag was an appeal to heaven that he flew. I got to show Paul Race. I got to give him a whole class that I learned from Ken about that Maynard flag with the tree. Yeah. It was so awesome. Anyways, you can Google appeal to heaven flag, and George Washington funded his own fleet in the beginning of ships. I don't know how many it was, 2, 3, 5, whatever. It was more than one. And he chose that symbol, and he chose the pine tree, a certain kind of pine tree in Maine that was called the king's pine or whatever, because they were so long and tall they used them for the masts, and that the common man wasn't allowed them. So George Washington chose that tree as his symbol to go out there. So, I don't know. I'm not going to wait for somebody to start something, Mike. So that's saying that if there was an army formed to fight or a state seceding, so who's supposed to start that?
Right.
If it's not us, then who?
Yeah, exactly.
At what point is it justified to form it as a Christian, or are you supposed to say that was a non-Christian who formed it, but now I can join because I'm the Christian who waits?
All I'm saying, and I'm going to agree with Mike in a point here. I agree with 90% of what he said there, or 75% of what he said there. My point is this: we have to be bold, and we have to act boldly, with our faith and what we're going to do. And we're going to be persecuted. They're going to come for us. Our businesses are going to suffer and everything, which is why I'm going to give you our plan on what we're doing. We are getting out of Virginia as fast as we possibly can, right? That might be, next week. It might be next month. It may be next year. But we are going to work that way, and we are getting out of Virginia. I believe we're going to northeast Tennessee.
We are going to start doing some weekend road trips.
Yeah, we're doing
I
weekend
told
road
him
trips everywhere.
For me to consider this move again, it's going to start with visiting places.
Adam, how do you know what trees I have on my property line? The King's Broad Arrow marked many white pine trees. You have some of those on your property line. In the
that's not
in the
creepy.
Northeast, they grow much bigger and better. What's the
guess
25% you
you've shared
disagree with? What I'm saying is that we may have to form our own things, and that we may have to resist in any way we can going forward, and that it might fall on us to start a movement. You know,
I think that was So I mean, you just kind of clarified, Mike. You said
I
anyone
know
can
you helped
declare
me unload the
employment.
moving truck. It's amazing that you figured that out, that you looked at those and you noticed those. That's great. Thanks, Adam, for helping us out there. So all I'm saying is that sitting back and waiting for someone else to do something is not necessarily what I think we should be doing. I think we should all be ambitious in what we do, and I think we should all be entrepreneurial in what we do. And maybe we're the ones who start the ball rolling, and then somebody better comes along and taps you and says, I got it from here. You know, they often say that the CEO that grows a company from, 0 to 10 million is usually not the same CEO to take them from 10 million to 100 million.
Yep.
Right. And that's why it requires a different skill set. It requires a different, vision and different things. Yeah. Tennessee, Amy Jean, you want to party in Nashville? I want to party in Nashville. I'm just saying, I would love to go see
Speaking
Nashville.
of, what is the conclusion of the bombing?
I haven't heard anything.
Has anyone
that
heard
has
anything?
gone away. That has gone away like, whoa. Does anybody know anything further other than a crazy person who wanted to take out an AT&T 5G center, supposedly, detonated it, and thought he was going to go down a hero for that?
I don't know.
Well, the good news is he never felt the thing. I guarantee you that, with the amount of explosives that he used. And as fast as that traveled, he was there and then he wasn't.
It's a good way to go. If you're going to kill yourself, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably that's definitely one of the most thorough ways to go. But anyway, so we're going to Tennessee. We're getting out of here. I think we're going to Tennessee. We'll see.
So West Virginia?
West Virginia's off the
Tennessee.
list as of. I had a good talk with a friend of mine who has a lot of experience there, and they have some of the worst small business laws in the country. So if you're going to run your business there, the regulations and the laws for small business, because they were a Democrat-run state for 50 years, they're only recently read.
You just heard that in this one conversation, so we need to look into it a little bit more.
Verify that, but I trust
see
this
if that
person
would
to
apply
be very
to
competent.
what we're doing, etc. But
it does say something about forming a more perfect union, Brandy, but the issue is going forward, there's a lot of SEALs pushing. They have this new cool logo and this new party called the Patriot Party, and it's a lion on the symbol instead of an elephant or a donkey, which are pretty lame.
yeah, those are really
Pretty lame.
horrible.
They chose a lion, and and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this looks cool. They want to start a third party. It's all I got, the typical team guys. They designed the best logo ever, right? And then I'm like, okay, tell me about your third party. And like, it's all about the Constitution. It's the Constitution. Every other word, Constitution. I'm like, great. What are your stances on all the issues? We're working on that. We're going to be a centrist party. And as soon as I heard centrist, I started freaking out, because centrist means that you don't believe in anything.
You're just trying to appeal to everybody.
You're just trying to appeal to everyone, and you're nothing. And I want no part of a centrist party. You're either right or wrong.
Yeah. John Boyle, we're not moving to Dallas, Texas. Although you mentioned that the other day. You said, well, what about Texas? But no.
Texas would be great for Lauren's fibromyalgia. So it's technically on the list. If I got offered a job there, John Boyle, where I was making a lot of good money and I could justify a move there, I would go to Texas, even though every day I'd walk out, my eyes would want to bleed, because it's the ugliest place on the face
I'm
of
not asking him
the
to go
country.
to Dallas, Texas. Sorry. You can come join us wherever we are. What about South Carolina? Yes.
South
Greenville
Carolina,
area is
Greenville area is high
it.
on our list. Lauren is more pulling us there than I am. She wants that warm weather. I want Blowing Rock, North Carolina, where you get New England weather in the south. And if it's too cold for you, just drive down out of the mountain.
Right.
Just drive down.
Right.
Drive down.
Okay. Mike Ferrugia says, police work has taught me whatever seems to most likely be the truth is most likely the truth. A knucklehead blew himself up because he hated AT&T.
Yes, I would agree with that. You know, there was a lot of people, like I saw again, you know, how many crazy stories have we got from special ops raid in Germany? Like we're going to invade Germany and do special ops raids to, you know, firefights in Germany and all kinds of craziness going on, which the second I read that, I'm like, this is like something out of like a Richard Marcinko novel. This is like garbage. So anyways, let's get back to what I wanted to talk about here, which is our plan moving forward. So if you guys are considering moving...
I'm ready for more wine.
What? I didn't think that would happen. I thought she was going to milk that all night. Here you go. So...
That's the perfect amount left for me.
kill it. Because I have a whole nother bottle over here.
Just don't mind the aerator, guys.
Yeah. So... I think we really need to consolidate, and I want to consolidate, and I want to tell you why. I agree Texas could become blue, and that's why I don't want to go to Texas.
Yep.
I want to go someplace that hasn't been as corrupted by California, Mexico, and, you know, and let's face it, Texas has. So I am looking for, what you got?
I'm ready.
You don't like it?
Message to me.
Oh, you get a message to you?
Lauren, join the Facebook group Life After California. Okay.
All right.
That looks useful to both of us.
Well, Beth, thank you.
Life After California. That's a great. It's a very.
So, you know,
correct
we're
term.
looking at, like I said, I'll tell you why I chose Mountain City, Tennessee. It's a small town. Is voted very conservative, one of the most conservative towns out there. And it's close to Boone, North Carolina, which is like a Charlottesville with Appalachian State, but it's across state lines, so there's no shared government, right? So you can have the restaurants. You can have, you know, Franklin Graham, which, you know, Billy Graham was from there and had his place there. And now Franklin Graham is there. And it's 20 minutes away.
Mike, you think Florida's going blue?
No way. No way. Everything I'm seeing from everyone in Florida, and I was on the phone with somebody from Florida today, is that it's going to get redder and redder because the people who are fleeing New York realize their mistake and are voting more pocketbook issues because a lot of them are on fixed income.
All people fleeing New York?
Not, I can't say all. I'm saying most.
Okay. The
People
ones
who are
going to
going
Maine
there.
too?
Yeah. Well, Maine didn't shift.
Yeah.
Right. I was concerned that everyone fleeing to northern Maine as a refugee from COVID from New York City
Yeah, so that's
was going to change
Did it tighten
northern
at all?
red.
I
It
didn't
didn't
know.
change at all. The percentages stayed uniform, which, of course,
Well,
if you believe anything about the last election polls.
Yeah, right. And Florida, DeSantis, that was the name that you were trying to think of.
DeSantis, thank you.
I mean, they've been so, like with the virus and everything as far as that and how they're managing it, they've been very in the Republican way of handling it. And I know that they've gotten a lot of kind of props for that. So I would think that that's going to attract people in that party versus the other way around.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. The thing is that DeSantis is not going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
That guy's got a bright future ahead of him, depending on how Florida goes. If Florida crushes it and COVID isn't an issue and he leads that state to prosperity, he's going nowhere but up. I mean, he could be a 2024 candidate.
Yeah.
You know, so I want to talk about somebody who I respect in theory. I don't know him. He had a great reputation in the teams. But you know, I've seen a SEAL buddy, not a buddy, but a SEAL comrade, a SEAL brother, who's in Congress, come out and, you know, basically against the states.
So Dan Crenshaw, I'm sure everyone
Dan
knows
Crenshaw,
his
the
name.
guy
Yeah.
with the patch, you know, by all accounts, people who work for him swear he's a great dude.
He seems it. I mean,
And
up until now, he made the whole video about kind of going to Georgia to save Georgia and all of that stuff. But yes, I think it's been surprising that he's come out kind of as vocally
but
about what's went on Wednesday. And the process of
Yeah.
trying the other senators rejecting the electoral votes and things like that. He's come out saying that was not an appropriate thing to do.
Yeah, well, the whole country has both strains now, Mike. They just haven't found it yet. Once they're finding it, it's too late.
Yeah.
Once they're finding it, it's too late. It's everywhere. So just accept the fact that unless you're a hermit, you're going to get this. Like, I went to the Trump rally expecting to get COVID. We'll see. Day, 2?
Just 2.
2 out of that mess. And, I might, who knows what the next 12 days hold for me. But I went there because it was that important to me to, to go weigh in and give my support behind Trump.
He seems established.
A lot of people are saying that, and that may be the case. I sent him a private message again. I never served with him. He was kind of a young guy when I was getting out, and he was a West Coaster on top of that. East Coast, Beast Coast, West Coast, Lame Coast. But
what is their actual saying?
What?
What is their actual saying?
West Coast, Best Coast. What sounds better? West Coast, Best Coast, or East Coast, Beast Coast?
I'd say East Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, best, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I sent him a personal message to see if, I'm like, hey, can you make any sense of this to me? And we'll see if he responds. If he responds, I'll tell you what he says. But, I know that some guys came down really hard on him. He tried to do what he called some common sense gun reform, or talking about some gun reform after, whether it was, I think it was Vegas or something around then.
Would have been one of the school shootings.
It might have been.
I'm not sure he was in when Vegas happened.
After one of the active shooters, he came out and was trying to weigh in, and everyone immediately pigpiled on him and said that blew what he was trying to do out of proportions.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of officers, so he's got a strike already against me because they're already politicians, right?
Okay.
In order to get there, but he didn't stay in all that long to get corrupted too far down that thing. So we'll see what he says. I'm anxious. He's very articulate. He's very thoughtful.
He was talking about the red flag
Yeah,
stuff.
that's exactly what it was, Salty Sam. It was the red flag things that kind of drove me crazy. And now red flags are going to be used against all of us. Literally any neighbor who doesn't like how you park your car but knows you like guns, or you shoot on your property, is going to, say, hey, I heard him say some crazy things, and now you'll have cops at your door, which God knows where they can take that. So
I've been seeing a post shared around about the H1, whatever, those various amendments to gun laws, and someone can pipe in with the actual whatever, and it's stuff about laws about how you need to lock up your firearms and ammo, and that they have the right to investigate any reports that you aren't securing your stuff appropriately, and it's like,
so basically it's inviting Big Brother into your house anytime you want it.
Yeah.
Or anytime they want to go. And that's what I was trying to explain to my good friend Mike, who's watching right now, is he wants to hold here in Virginia, and there is no way in heck I am staying in Virginia unless I get the James Earl Jones God talking to me and be like, Jason, thou shalt stay in Virginia. If that happens, then I'll stay.
Okay, yes, but no kicking down doors that are like concrete walls.
No, well, that's what we did with Maine.
Yeah.
But we got Kim Graves as one of our great friends now.
God threw us a bone, okay? So
your parents jacked that one up.
No, we're not going to go there. So Mike said, One-Eyed Bandit, I love him, but he is wrong, in my opinion, being against them taking the grounds of the Capitol.
I agree.
As the video I posted explains, what are we supposed to do? We're being ignored, marginalized, shut down, ignored. So someone stages possession of our house, and we're anti-law enforcement. BS. I believe Antifa started it, and many supporters followed in to take the ground. Again, we're going to see about the Antifa thing if they do release accurately the names of people who are being arrested.
Yeah,
and
I have no doubt that Trump voters got caught up in it. I mean, there's a mob mentality is real. Because like I see you, when you're in a fight line, I've been in enough crowds and riots and conflicts to tell you that you're going to see injustice, and you're going to see people get hurt, and you instinctually go to protect or retaliate. I mean, there's not a lot of thought behind it. If you see a girl get hit in the face with, and just knocked out and destroyed, or a young kid get hit with a tear gas canister, or you see someone else get, a cop go one step too far because their blood is up, right? And I'm going to side with the cops 99.999% of the time because you have the choice of complying with what they say, right? Like the cop has to do his job.
Yes. Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
the choice of escalating that situation further, right?
Yes, Brandy, Ken was, if we were going to get a bone for going to Maine,
Yeah,
it's the best one we could ask for.
So he's actually coming to visit us in May if we're
If
still
we're here,
If we're here, or else it'll be Tennessee. Smoky Mountains in the Tennessee. Smoky Mountains sound way better than the Blue Ridge because Dems are blue. Just saying.
yeah.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So I saw, again, I think on this video that Mike shared of the people being allowed into the building. And I think one of your comments, Mike, was something about how you can hear these people going in. They were saying effing traitors, like chanting that as they were going in. And he was like, something to the effect of, these can't be Trump supporters. I don't know any Trump
disagree with that
supporter who
entirely,
would
and
talk
I'm
like
willing to
this.
weigh in on that.
And I think, love you, Mike. And yes, I think that on a whole, Trump supporters are a more courteous crowd. But of course, there are people who are going to be upset and saying effing traitors about all of the congressmen who
Mike Pence just stabbed
are
us all in the
voting
back.
against.
So to
Yeah.
me, that rang true. When I heard that, I'm like, of course they were saying that.
Yeah, so I think
Because that's exactly all these congressmen and Kelly Loeffler and all these other people who Trump fought for, got elected, and campaigned for and everything else.
Yeah.
They turn around and stab them in the back.
So I think if anything, that shows that they were Trump supporters.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a nice thought that we are all
have the
such
earring
a
over
courteous
there?
group that we don't say any swears.
Do you need a refill? I think you do.
Is this the same stuff?
Yeah. Another.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. It's another Trump Cab Sav 2016.
I hear you opening another bottle. Yep. Which number drink are you guys on?
I haven't had wine and I haven't had a buzz in a very long time. Actually, no, wait a minute. I have one on New Year's over at Mike's. What are you afraid of the sound? She's not farting, guys. It's the aerator.
Yes, I'm so afraid that the aerator sounds like farts. Okay.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I was just trying to be respectful of the loud mic, but okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Everyone wants to hear the way the aerator sounds kind of cool.
So when Jason does anything, he does it in the fanciest way that you can do it. So we have the electric corkscrew. He got a whole wine.
It came
kit.
as a kit, guys. It came as a kit. Come on. I'm a bundler. You're gonna give me something. Why don't you take off my aerator for my pour?
Prepper. What?
You took off what are you doing? See, I told you you're buzzed. You're already buzzed off of 1/4 of a glass of wine.
Maybe I am.
Well, we're such non-drinkers. I mean, literally, outside of being over Mike Ferruccio's house on New Year's Eve, and I got
I'm
to
on
partake.
a drug. I'm not even supposed to be drinking right now. So
Yeah. So, I mean, before that, it was a year ago? Something like that?
probably, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the last one of these we did in Maine in middle of the summer.
Yeah.
But
Mike drank 2 glasses of bourbon, and that equals 4 to 6 shots. So he's going to slow down.
we're
not, you're home.
Amy G, my question to you is, what are you drinking? And it better not be a wine cooler. That's all I'm going to say. It better not be a Zima or something like that.
Is there some precedent there?
No. That's my cousin. She's amazing. She's great. She's behind enemy lines in Massachusetts, people. So my cousin goes in there, Amy Jean Perry. She lives in, like I said, in Mass, in a suburb of Mass, and grew up there. A lot of friends who turn out to be on the liberal side. So she's in combat. Close quarters combat.
Shall we strength and honor?
All the time. I think, Amy Jean, we're going to give you a little strength and honor.
Behind enemy lines?
Enemy lines. For all of us living in blue states. There you go.
Yeah. Albemarle County, baby.
So we figured we'd give her a little shout
So
out.
who else is seriously considering moving?
Who wants to go to Tennessee with us? Come on.
Well, we'll start here. Who would like to go on a weekend trip with us to Tennessee? Anyone?
Anybody want to go to a weekend trip
Let
with
us
us
know.
to Tennessee?
We're coordinating it.
We're gonna check Eastern, Northeast Tennessee, and we're gonna party or have a great time, dinners if restaurants are still open. And
We will have a baby with us. Just
yeah, we'll
by
figure
the
that
way.
out. She travels well. Mike, is Baby B not cool to party
she
with?
party animal. She was the.
She was the life of the
She was the life
party.
of the party on New Year's Eve.
I mean, now I'm kind of biased.
19-month-old.
My history is I did 40. Well, she's 18 months, so I did 46 years of I don't want kids around me when I'm having a good time because they suck. But at Mike's New Year's Eve party where we were having a great time, she did not take away from the atmosphere, in my opinion.
No. Trust falls.
Yeah, I mean, it was all good.
Group trust falls.
Charging and turning around and falling. It was like a running trust fall.
She's a party animal. Yes, she is.
And she did love your dog, Moses,
Mm-hmm.
who happens to be a boxer, which I think every Italian has a boxer. Has anyone ever met an Italian dude who doesn't have a boxer? I'm just curious. The only other thing is they have a boxer or a Rottweiler. That's
Rottweiler, yeah.
That's like the two paisan, dogs out there. Is there anyone out there? I drink barefoot wine, love sweet wine. Oh, man, that gives you a headache, Amy Jean. Headache, it's bad. You got to try some Trump stuff. I will send you a bottle of Trump wine, I promise.
We're really bad at getting mail outs, so don't hold your breath on that one.
Well, what the?
It will get there eventually. I think we had a hard. You're not supposed to send wine across state lines.
When are you going? We are closing on a house on 115 in Massachusetts. Our plan is to go to Arizona, though, and then find property along the way to look at. So we're honestly, the longest I think we're going to go is we're putting it in God's hands. For those of you who
when are we going on a trip to look at it? Trip to look at it is going to be within the next several weeks.
Yeah, within
2 to 4 weekends.
2 to 4 weeks, we're going to start going there and start really exploring it. We're looking at putting our house on the market in the spring, if possible. Again, it's all finance dependent. We're like a lot of people out there. Our main business has taken a lot of heavies. We've experienced a lot of cancel culture because of our faith and because of the way we vote, and because
God forbid he tells them actually what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Civil unrest over the summer was because of BLM and Antifa.
Exactly.
And he said it out loud.
I said it, and it wasn't looked upon, with kind eyes in the big business world. So, we may need to cash out the equity on our house. We have a good amount of equity in this place, and we may need that. If not, I'd like to slow it down to next spring, but we'll see. If business continues to be bad because Joe Biden is about to put us all in lockdown again, then we probably will be. And then we'll be renting for a bit till we find the right place. But we're starting the scouting trip. I just want to let Mike know that West Virginia is off the plate due to business laws once we confirm those.
Yes. So send us a message if you want to try to
Vegas. I
join
wouldn't go
in
to
on our
Vegas for all the money in the
scouting
world, Scott. Just Chris Scott. Not for all the money in the world.
Vegas.
Yeah. Vegas, I've been there. It's a desert, and it's Sin City for a reason. I want my kid nowhere near that.
Yeah.
Nowhere near that. I want to grow up in
I'll stay
a
here.
small country mountain town. That's what I want my kid to grow up in. And around some of my best friends and the best people imaginable, where we all look out for one another and we're all there to pick each other up when we fall down. That's what I want. That's what we lost. I mean, that's what America's lost.
Yes.
America used to be that. We used to have to be a good neighbor, right? You used to have to be a good person because there was no insurance companies. There was no FEMA relief. There was none of that. So if you were a jerk and your house burnt down, no one helped you rebuild it.
If your packages were delivered across the street, they said, "Oh, let me just go bring that across the street for you."
Yeah.
We're having a neighbor beef right now.
So, the Paradise compound,
Yes.
the Paradise compound, and it will most likely be in Tennessee, or
So our criteria as they were anywhere that we were moving primarily is internet.
Adam, I agree with those Midwest folk. It's just I need the mountains or the ocean, one or the other. Country setting is what you need. Country people are legitimate, hardworking, great people. I don't want designer clothes wearing like Louis Vuitton bag, if that's even a thing, carrying whatever. I want people who know what's important and will be there for you because that's what counts.
Ferrugios, we will coordinate. If you guys are serious and wanting to go, we'll pick a weekend that works. And the neighbors have received a letter, and I have spoken to him several times on the phone. And I've ordered.
Oh, he was going off
and
on
I've
Lauren.
ordered arrows for our mailbox.
We're the only house.
This is I think it's so funny that you're like, we're the only ones who have to do this. So what?
What do you mean? Meaning it's above and beyond. Like packages getting delivered is not our deal. That's the post office, UPS, or FedEx.
It's the good neighbor thing to do is say, what can we do to solve this
Right.
problem?
So let's make our property look ridiculous with a bunch of like ridiculous flashing signs that here's where we live. Please deliver our package because we don't want to upset the 100-year-old guy across the street.
So we go from 0 to way overboard in what we think this needs to be. No.
What? I don't
One
know what
little
Gap.
side.
Gap. Yeah, I really love MeWe, Simon. MeWe is as close to Facebook as you can get, and as a business allows you to have a business page. I really like it. It's a more effective communication platform as a business owner or as someone. When you message it out, it's not an algorithm. Anything you put out, every one of your friends gets, right? And that's something that I think is great. Don't forget my wine, cuz I won't. You don't have to pay for it. You'll get your Trump wine, I promise. Do you want red or white? The white's really good. Just saying, but the red or white. So you make up your decision. We'll send you a bottle, and I'm sure you'll like it. So, and of course, everything we got was 2016. So hold on to that bottle because it might be the last good election we had.
Yeah.
After that, it might be 300 years of Democrats because Puerto Rico's a state, because D.C.'s a state, because the Supreme Court's been packed and the filibuster's through and everything else.
PCM is on me. Trident, we have not really. Trident social stuff is not as important.
Trident
anymore,
is
so.
not as B2B, so we haven't done any of that stuff over there. That's why we started PSC, PCM. PSC.
Oh, sorry. It's 10 o'clock, guys.
What?
What? That wasn't like we gotta go. That was a med reminder.
You are so thorough on your meds. Like, so everyone who's ever taken prednisone, so Lauren had to take prednisone here. And prednisone is a challenging thing to take. It's like 6 pills the first day, 6 pills the second day, 5. She like set them up on a clock to optimize. Everyone else is like, whatever.
Remember to take it. Because I'm going to forget. And I'm on Lyrica now for this fibromyalgia to see if it's going to work. And I have to make sure I take it.
MeWe could become just like Facebook once the subscribers get aside talking about not sharing all your posts to everyone you know. It may. It's just not now. Right now, without any effort, I have grown to 600 plus followers by literally just sharing some stuff out there. No marketing. There is no marketing. There is no boosting. You can't do all the things that you want to do in business, Mike. But it is more like getting in groups. I can't put Stop the Steal in a hashtag in a post on Instagram or Facebook, because if I do Stop the Steal, that immediately identifies for them to look at that post and to judge it.
Oh, I probably should take that out then.
Yes, you should take that out. So they've already said they've been targeting Stop the Steal.
I've used that on a few recent posts. I'll take that out.
Definitely. Louis Costanzo. Exactly. Lou Costanzo. I mean, what's going on with that guy? Where's he
What's
at?
going on with the guy?
What's going on with that guy? I mean, he's one of the best drummers.
Thanks for joining in, Adam.
Adam, awesome, brother. Thank you so much for coming. And again, thank you for coming to help us move.
And he offered to take some ammo off your hands if we're moving again.
No, we're going to hang on to that ammo. It's worth more than gold right now.
They're threatening Trump with jail. Don't you think that he will do something now?
They're threatening Trump. Do you think he will do something
Well,
now?
so we were talking about, will he pardon himself on the way out? just to kind of cover his bases, knowing that
See you, Chris.
the left is going to try to do anything dirty to prosecute him. And you said, even if he pardoned himself, the left could, if they have all the power and all the branches, they could just say your pardon doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly. What you guys don't understand is that with Georgia, whether it was stolen or whether they totally betrayed the entire nation, with all three branches of government, they can literally make any rule or any amendment or anything go away. And guess what? The corrupt Republicans are going to do this, play along.
Can we hypothetical this for a little bit? If they went in and said your pardon doesn't mean anything anymore, would that undo the pardons for everybody in history?
I have no idea how to hypothesize that. I think that, they may come after him and put an exception or what, this, that, the other thing. My thing is I think we have a very strong or a very hard decision that we have to make. Do we stay in the Republican Party? I mean, do we, I've seen multiple movements now that are claiming, that are demanding everyone who is a Trumper to go independent. Mm-hmm. And you made a very good point the other day, and I agree with that point, that if you go independent, some states it makes sense because you can vote in either primary and you still have some say and the candidates go forward. In other states, if you go independent, you have no say in the person they put forward as a candidate for local government or for who runs for president. So you kind of become a bystander at that point. I would love a third party. I think that the country needs a third party. I just don't know if a third party is the answer right now in this crisis.
Yeah, well, it's why the parties get mad or they don't like when there's a Green Party candidate or a Libertarian candidate or anything that would splinter up internally to make their vote less against the party that they're really like, the Democrats versus Republicans. So if the Republicans are kind of split up amongst multiple parties, then that automatically means the Democrats will have more votes.
Yeah,
against
exactly.
Multiple groups.
They've succeeded in splitting us. Right before we were talking about there was the Bernie Bros against the corrupt Democrats. Right, Bernie Bros are socialists, and then you had the Democrats who were big business donors, corruption incarnate. Whereas you had the deep believers in the other side. Well, now we have the deep believers who are, Trumpists or the MAGA agenda. And then you have your big business Republicans who are the old guard of the Republican who used to get big business money, we have been displaced to the left. The left has taken over that, right? You look like you're smiling.
No.
You're laughing?
No.
This is such a treat. My wife never drinks with me. So this is the most she's drank with me since the baby.
Yes.
So B is almost 20 months old. Mm-hmm. So, and then you were pregnant for a really long time before that. And then you were trying to get pregnant before that.
It's been a long time, guys.
So it's been years since Lauren has been giggling.
Has had the glow.
I think Trump will do something. I don't know what, but something will happen. Do you hear news out of Italy? They arrested the guy who changed the votes and hacked the machines. Simon, it may all be true, brother. I just don't know what to believe anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? Until it's on, literally until the Epic Times is covering it, I don't trust anything anymore.
Yeah, I mean, do we know enough about them as far as
Well, I do. I've yet to see them be wrong. They don't promise anything. They say they'll report something, but they have been.
They haven't called the race yet, have they?
No, they have been extremely, conservative in their calls and what they say, but they cover it, with our lean.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's factual.
Yep.
Right. And I've really, really, really been enjoying them. And I think they have a YouTube news channel called NTD.
So, Mike, you keep referencing the Italians and the Vatican. Do you know what he's talking about? Mike, what are you talking about? I haven't heard this.
Freaking lies everywhere. Why do these people make crazy... Mike, you're swearing again. What are you doing, man? This is a Christian channel.
It's the bourbon. He gets all...
Yeah, he's got some bourbon, and then he becomes a sailor. You weren't a sailor. You were Air Force, dude. Air Force guys don't get to cuss. I mean, they don't get to cuss. I mean, the hardest thing an Air Force guy does is bang his knuckles when he's turning a wrench on a helicopter or a plane. You can't cuss. All right. So, anyways, the whole Q thing. Now the Italians and the Vatican, GB and MI6, Linwood, what the heck? I think Linwood's a plant. I honestly do. I think, I bought into him in the beginning. He had a very impressive resume.
Would you put Sidney Powell in there too?
I believe her a little bit more. I think she may have been misled. I mean, she doesn't come across as the most technically proficient person. I think that some people might have got their hooks in her, but she could have been a plant too.
I mean, she said some pretty conclusive things also.
Yeah, I mean, the whole 99% thing that Trump's going to be in office, whatever.
There will be many arrests, the Kraken, Well,
all those things, if we had a legitimate Supreme Court, that would go that way.
Yeah.
But do we? Or, I mean, there is a possibility that Trump's been playing us all. I don't believe that with 1%.
I don't think so. I think that he could have been
duped.
Yeah, I mean, the same way that we have largely all bought into everything that these lawyers have been saying because we want to believe everything is true. I'm sure that and I think that a lot of what they said is true with the evidence and all of that. It's just that they were not given their legitimate day in court. And so they're all coming out to seem like liars or like that they were full of it this entire time. But for them to still come out with these promises that are reliant on courts and people doing the right thing, I think is where it crosses the line into being irresponsible.
So this is where it gets into consultants, right? And we're consultants, right? We have our special...
Mike, you're on a roll.
Yeah. So anyways.
Mike, slow down on the bourbon. Jan, get a grip on your husband.
Right. So, and no more red light coming into our small group meetings.
Oh my goodness.
That was the creepiest thing ever. So for those of you who don't know, people who are doing the 90-day crucible, we have a small group where we meet once a week to talk about Christian things. And Mike at literally 9:15 on a Thursday night comes in and he's got this red light background and his shirt's off and he's laying in bed. And it was the creepiest thing I've seen.
And he's like, what did I just come into? With this porn stash going on. Mike, what is going on?
And he had like a creepy 70s porn stash on during the whole time. And we're like, dude, that's it. Me and McNeely, Mike runs a small group at 7 a.m. on Mondays. And me and McNeely are going to come in thongs with red lights in the background and be like, hey, Jesus, how you doing? It was ridiculous.
To his defense, it doesn't seem like he realized he was joining.
I don't think he realized what he was joining.
But I don't know why you would have joined.
Well, at least we're entertaining adventures of Scott and Jen. Hey, felt X to tell you, stay focused on Jesus no matter who's in the White House. He's on the throne. I totally agree with that,
100%.
Scott. 100%. But that doesn't mean that we're not in the hard times. So the Bible really skips over a lot of stuff for God's people when it sucks.
Jan says she was sleeping.
You were sleeping, Jan. I said that then. What does he mean by I said that then? But anyway, so the Bible doesn't really talk about all that much during the bad times. It'll be like, yes, and they were condemned to the woods and the wilderness for 40 years until everyone died, miserable in the woods. Or yes, they were enslaved in Egypt for hundreds of years, or Nazi Germany, or on and on and on, and all these things that end up happening to God's chosen people. And it doesn't really seem like a good deal for those who are going through it at that time. They may end up in heaven. They may have eternity to, if they knew Jesus, or before that time when they didn't know Jesus. That's up for some debate as well, right? Pre-Jesus, pre-Savior.
As far as we go right now, yes, we 100% we stay focused on Jesus, on the Word. That does not mean, and that almost more guarantees that our existence here and now is going to be a lot harder. Because we still have to experience the day-to-day realities of living in this country, in this world. But I think as long as we stay on the straight and narrow, as far as Jesus is concerned, then yes, we will ultimately get to heaven, which is the goal.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not for me that I worry. do I want to, go meet Jesus tomorrow? No, I don't. I want to stay with you and baby B in my earthly relationships right now, which may be a sin. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
But, I worry about my daughter. I don't want my daughter to grow up without me.
Yeah.
I don't want, you guys to struggle without me to provide or any of those other things. And
Well, that's when you say stuff that we're not going to talk about on this show. About solutions.
now then,
Solutions. Like, no, you're going to stay here for us, for our daughter.
so it's tough. I worry about, my daughter. I worry about my grandkids. I worry about those things. And what makes me saddest of all is that this happened on all of our watch. Everyone who's watching this show now is we let America turn into the Soviet Union on our watch.
Well, it's the same way that we blame the flower powers generation for ruining the education system. Every generation has something to blame. Ours is a big one.
Yeah. And so I'm just going, do you have, you want to? Can you read the comments anymore?
I can. I'm not on so Mike Ferrugia thought it was a chat that he was coming into. I'm not sure why that makes it better to show up like you did, Mike, but better.
Hey.
I will defend Mike. He did not come in like that.
There was some Austin Power stuff going on there, just saying.
Amy G, I'm scared we won't ever get our country back to more conservative way with those seas being poisoned by dumb evil. I don't know. No.
I don't know if we're ever going to get our country back. That's the honest truth of you. I don't think so.
Not for a long time.
It depends on how aggressive they are.
We're way swinging this way, so it's going to be a long time before it swings this way.
So, if how they were acting before, like if they were trying to build bridges right now and bring peace to the country and reach out to us and not go after Trump and all that stuff, I would say we have a chance of them being a do-nothing Congress, right, where they're not going to try to rock the boat and they just wanted to get rid of Trump. But unfortunately, they're using this time to be the most divisive they can. Biden's speech was like a BLM love fest.
I've seen clips
and just divided the country even more. So Mr. Come Together.
Mr. Unity,
yeah. Mr. Unity. It is going to be awful, everyone.
And I mean, they're using what happened on Wednesday to legitimize taking these actions now, not even waiting for the administration to get in. So all the talk is, always kind of what's going to happen day one. They're doing things on negative day 15 or whatever, with all the tech stuff and everything.
Yeah. So I want to read something that Simon said. I'm actually in Germany. Do you know that literally the whole world prays for the USA? Also in Russia. I'm originally from Russia. People all over the world pray for you guys. I know that. I know that. And, and that's been a challenge in my faith that I've had. I've had many talks with Ken Graves. I'm like, Ken, what's going on with God? I mean, you had more people in this world praying for Donald Trump to come out in this and for America to prevail in this so we could get back to him, to buy us more time to get back to him. And, and I've struggled with that. I've struggled with that. And, and let me just say, Simon says, and I don't want to get emotional here on TV, but we really appreciate that. I may be guilty of making America an idol, a false idol. I love my country. I've served her my whole life. It was literally my first religion as a kid. I was an atheist for 37 years, and the only thing that I was proud of was that I was American. Hold on, give me a sec. So, I really appreciate that because I know that we're the beacon of light for people. And it makes me so sad to think that the light's going out and to see us being pulled in such an evil direction by people who don't even realize that. Like your parents or my friends or my family, members of my family who think that Donald Trump is evil and that anything Republican is evil when, all we're trying to do is protect what this country stands for, and they don't understand. And preachers did it themselves. Like preachers, the right started this censorship. The right started this censorship in the 80s against gangster rap and heavy metal, and that they wanted to stop all this stuff happening. And now it's being used against us, and it just breaks my heart. And I just want to say that we appreciate those prayers, and that I'm hoping God comes through in the end in all this. I don't know his master plan. I'm going to stay believing. I'm going to ride it out to the end. But, we understand that people and that's the thing that makes me angriest, is I have so many friends that are comfortable and don't want to risk anything. I put my whole business on the line, and I'm not putting my freedom on the line. Right? I haven't done anything to where I'm going to lose you or I'm going to lose baby B. And I'm ashamed of that, because I know people in Russia, and I know people in China, and I know people in Germany, and I know people in Canada who can't even say certain phrases from the Bible. And not that Canada or Germany is this big oppressive regime, but there are people out there who have it way worse than we do, who are just screaming for us to fight for ourselves, and we won't. Because they're only going to get stronger from here.
Yes.
They've already gotten stronger since Wednesday. Twitter and big business and everything else has just gotten stronger, and we've all and that's why I really believe that I'm hoping and I'm praying that brave special men will stand up and do something. And I'm ashamed that it's not me. That's the honest truth. I'm ashamed it's not me. I'm ashamed I'm not willing to risk my wife and my kid and what I got, and I'll live with that eternal shame forever. My contribution is getting up here and talking to you and trying to make force multipliers out there, but I wish I was one of the guys on the front line that need to do what need to be done. So
possibly.
So I'm as weepy as I get here, so I'm sorry. What's that?
I said possibly is that front line's not there yet. I mean, that when really it's a time that could truly make the right difference, you'll know, and you'll know that it's the right time to go and sacrifice. Not that I ever would want that situation to happen, but
and that's what I try to explain to, Lauren's really supportive. We had a crucible moment or a decision moment. I don't think crucible is the right word, but we had a decision point with her family where they asked me to not carry my firearm on their property or whatever. And we tried to come up with some compromise, and we weren't able to get there. We offered to put it in a safe as long as in the house and whatever. And I was just, Lauren supported me and backed me the whole way to much, it made life complicated while we remain. But it's like, I'm willing to die for these rights out in the street tomorrow. They come and they tell me I can't do them, I'm willing to die. So it was just a principled thing, and it's just who I am. And, I don't know. I'd have to talk to biblical scholars or others to see if I'm making an idol out of my rights or making an idol out of my country. But I love my country, and I think America is the best hope we have. The reason why China is terrified of us is Christian missionaries have gone into China and rocked them to their core with Christianity taking over China.
Yeah. I mean, I think
we got a lot of stuff to catch up on here.
Yeah, I mean, our rights from this country, we believe to be God-given through the Constitution. Is that a fair statement?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Our rights in this country are God-given through the Constitution, as far as
they're God-given, and the Constitution just states that they're God-given. But unfortunately, they've already limited those rights, like the Second Amendment. In you saying you're worrying that you're putting your defending of these rights and your love for these rights as an idol, right?
And I know that there's this kind of debate on kind of when is kinetic action okay in defense of God's word or kind of on God's behalf, and I am far, far, far from biblically literate in all of the ins and outs. But if the rights that you're fighting for in the country that you're fighting for, we believe to be God's country, God's, that God was part of the Constitution essentially and how the founding fathers developed it. That in defending that does not make that an idol, that makes that in a sense, defending
I hope so.
a God-given thing.
I just look at the prayer marches. I look at, the Jericho March. I look at Franklin Graham's march. I just look at how many people prayed for this. And again, I don't know what God's plan, and I'm not trying to say I know better than God. I'm just, man, if he would just come through for us, holy smokes, how powerful. And maybe that'll happen.
Remember
maybe
what
tomorrow
Ken said,
it will, or
though,
Monday.
too, and that it's not that God didn't come through, it's that we may have screwed it up, and that I can't remember exactly how he said it, and that God might have come through, and that the votes did come in the numbers that they needed to, and then human sin brought in election fraud, and that the votes that God came through with because of those prayers, they couldn't go anywhere because a man-made issue kind of blocked them from counting.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's God has beaten armies with 300 men with lanterns and donkey jawbones. If he can do that with a lot of sin and a lot of things going on, I was hoping he was going to come through for us. And I don't know his plan, and I don't pretend to be God or any of those things. I just was hoping that we'd have more time. Maybe our time's up. Maybe it's judgment time. Maybe the rapture's coming and all those things are coming, and we're at the end of days, and that's the way it's going to be. And all that needs to happen for the ultimate thing for us all to go to heaven and rapture and all that stuff. I'm just, I don't think anyone really knows how that works. So let's catch up on some text. So we got to go all the way up here. So that's where I started crying. And then Brandy says, is there any reconciliation? America, without a massive amount of revival, America can't come together. It's impossible. I don't think there's any real strong conservatives willing to fight for the country. It's all about the money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not in any quantity of people that would.
I don't know.
Do anything.
I think they're looking for a leader. And again, this is going to sound horrible, but hear me out in the end.
In the government, anyways.
Yeah.
I'll qualify.
Well, not in the government. In the government, but in the
agreement that
citizens, there are.
Yes.
And again, this is going to sound awful, so please bear with me. Lauren's really afraid right now.
No, I'm used to it.
Before Columbine, the active shooter, there were no really active shooters. They weren't a thing. Those guys were the guys that were the spark that gave a bullied, not heard, whatever, a very dark, evil voice that had been revisited upon us. And it's a curse that we're stuck with now, right, in schools and in society, where two people had an impact on so many, on society as a whole. And, so again, I don't mean to draw parallels between the two, but what I'm just saying that it doesn't take a lot of people to affect our country. If you look at MLK, for example, or you look at Gandhi, you look at this peaceful protest, you look at these people who 100% went out and passive and got beat down and got thrown in jail and did all these things. There's a very large portion of me that thinks that that's the way to go, because with a hostile press, you can't meet violence with violence. If you meet violence with violence, they're always going to write it that you were.
Well, that's the problem with what happened on Wednesday.
Yes, exactly.
We went from a very large and peaceful presence. I mean, you can't say that about any of the BLM rallies that happened over the summer, that quantity of people came to an area and everyone was respectful. There were not nasty signs. There was not yelling profanities. There was no pink pussy hats. You guys picked up your trash. And that's what would have been the narrative until there are some people that initiated the nasty.
But I'll tell you what, I was firing up for the nasty. Like, me and Paul were cheering for the guys that went in there before the tragedies were heard, that they took the house.
But you just said that violence with violence, and that the MLK kind of marched it out and peace thing is the way to go.
If they had gone in there, locked arms and chanted and were dragged out in police cuffs and pried apart, that's very different than posing in a Viking suit on a whatever.
So you just contrasted yourself a little bit.
No. I didn't know this. I didn't have the pictures. I didn't have the reference point. I heard that protesters had made it in there and disrupted government.
Okay, you just said you were cheering for the nasty. I'm not talking.
No, sorry. I'm not cheering for the nasty. I was cheering for the people who went into the house And because I didn't have a context on it, all I heard was that people have gone into the house and that they disrupted the vote and that everyone was doing, that government was scared. I liked government scared. Government should be afraid of the people.
That's a different thing, yeah.
Right? And then, a cop getting killed, unforgivable, should go to jail. A woman being killed by police shouldn't happen, all those things.
Yeah.
But all the other things that go into that, if there's one property they should be allowed to break in, it should be government property, right? Because that's where they pay their taxes. That's where we own that house. Going to a business and protesting somebody who's just trying to do their own American dream is something totally different. Burning down a city block is unforgivable. These people went to the government to shut down the very process that they disagree with. That makes sense to me. And for all these righteous, self-righteous Republicans, and there's a lot of them out there, and others. I think they're out of line. I think that those citizens, if they're willing to go to jail, right? I think they should all go to jail.
Well, I think it would be interesting to see where people fall if it ended at that people made their way, forced their way, broke in, whatever word you want to use, but got into the building where they shouldn't have been, but remained entirely peaceful at it.
Right.
What would have the narrative coming out of that situation been with that versus the fact that then people got stupid?
Well, I don't think that they were going to let it not be stupid, right? If you look at this in the scope of things, right? If you look at in the scope of everything that happened, you had 300,000 plus people down there who were very angry. Mm-hmm. I was in that crowd, and everyone was cool, and everyone was patriotic, and everyone was hopeful. But that was before Pence stabbed us in the back.
Yeah, the fact that
right.
Was
so that comes
down over the crowd.
They go there. They're expecting something. They were hoping that Mike Pence had their back. They were hoping that something was going to happen, and it didn't happen. And it could have been way worse.
Do you think, we had a conversation today about whether a large group of people was fed a bloated narrative, false narrative, whatever you want to call it, as far as what that event could have done, could that event have ever
right, Salty Sam,
impacted the outcome of the elector counting process yesterday or on Wednesday?
Agreed, T. Mendoza.
Or were they all going with this false hope, thinking that their presence there was going to get
I think Trump was
Trump
hopeful.
in office?
I think, Trump is like a salesperson, right? You assume you're going to close the sale. He's business, right? So you go in there and you assume you're going to close the sale, and you went with a hard close, right? To put pressure on Trump. Not on Trump, but on Pence to get this done. And, and it didn't happen that way. Everyone betrayed him. Nothing worked out. Everything went bad. And, but like I said, I don't have a problem with people taking over the House. I don't have a problem with them disrupting that chamber. I don't find it sacred. There is nothing in Congress with a 10% approval rating or 11% approval rating that's sacred. They're all corrupt pieces of garbage. There may be a few good ones in there, but there is nothing about our government that I am happy with right now. And them going in there and doing that, I don't care. I literally don't care. I don't care they went in there and did that. I don't care they made those people scared. Those people need to be scared of the people because they've been doing their own agenda no matter what, pitting right against left, left against right, dividing us amongst social issues while they all got fat and rich off insider trading and everything else that all these people go in with a good salary at 170 or whatever it is they get. Yeah. But they all come out multi-millionaires, and it's absolute garbage.
So where are you drawing the line? You saying you don't care? It's deserved. Where on what actions are you drawing the line? When the cop got killed
is where I draw the line. When there's violence against the police is where I draw the line. Now, I'm not talking about pushing and shoving. That's happened in every riot I've ever been in. It's part of the job. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you want to talk about there's no pretty arrest other than put your hands behind your back, right? I would love to see Trumpism to adopt the MLK philosophy. Maybe MLK, a hybrid event where you have 70% of the people on the ground being peaceful, completely passive, with a circle of people protecting them from other counter protesters, right? Not the police, but counter protesters. I think something like that really could work and would be very effective. And anybody who filmed that, they would be able to counter the media narrative on something negative coming in, saying that Trump people came in and beat up everyone. And we would be like, hey, here's the footage of it. Here's people literally on the ground, and this guy who came in to protect these people on the ground who were defenseless. By putting some people in defenseless positions, you empower other people to protect them. And I think there's something to that. All right, so we got a lot of stuff here to catch up on. I saw Mike wrote a novel.
Long Mike novel. I agree that idolatry of politics or our nation is wrong, and we come darn close or go over the line. God tells us clearly that we are aliens or better ambassadors to this world. Our home is not here. Should we stand for our nation because we have that right and responsibility? Yes, but if we lose because more evil exists, then what should we do? As I said, if there was secession, question, yes. If there was a revolutionary army, yes. Our job is to spread the word, create revival, bring people to follow Jesus. That's all in the Bible. Even Romans 13 says for us to follow our government except for things he stands against. Explain where God says to use kinetic warfare against our government with no secession or revolutionary declaration of independence.
Well, I what you're talking about there is tactics versus anything. The first shot around the world, heard around the world, there wasn't a long-term plan with armies drawn up or all those things, you know, when the people spilled out of the bars in Boston and, you know, to go fight the Revolutionary War, there wasn't a big, long war plan at that point. There is always a gut-wrenching moment where, you know, whether it's the Boston Massacre or whether it's whatever that happens that just is so wrong, an injustice that's so wrong that compels people to get off their couch, you know, out of their bed, out of their comfy lifestyle to go defend something bigger than them. And, you know, maybe it's this Air Force veteran who was killed, climbing through a window, unarmed, you know, 100% executed. And I called that a justified shoot, depending on what was down that hallway. Depending on what was down that hallway. And there needs to be an investigation on what orders were given and what was down that hallway. And again, I think warning shots, and I've had people in the tactical world crucify me, you don't want to start doing, that's bullshit, BS. It's total BS. It just means you can't think out of it. They don't want everyone shooting warning shots, and I get that because they're thinking lowest common denominator. You're talking about somebody in plain clothes who's at the Capitol. I assume they're one of the better trained people there. They can choose a safe direction to discharge their firearm and let people know that, hey, everything you've seen for the past 5 years or ever on TV is different than where you are right now, lady. You're about to come through a door. We have a VIP back here. You can't come in here. If you come through that door, I will kill you. I will pull the trigger. I don't want to. Don't make me kill you, but I will kill you as sure as I'm looking at you right now. If they had done something like that, that girl would still be alive, and this might be a very different world today. But unfortunately, that we don't, you know, all those cops are more afraid of firing a warning shot than killing someone because that's outside of policy. You can fire a gun if you're in fear for your life or you're protecting something or it's national security. But a warning shot, that wasn't in the manual. Holy smokes.
Can I ask you a tactics question?
Sure.
So she's obviously in a vulnerable position as she's climbing through the window, kind of at the moment that she's trying to get through, she's in not a position of power. What would happen if he had rushed forward and just grabbed her and tackled her to the ground?
Well, the problem is then other people would come to the door, right? They had chosen their point of no return. So whether they were directed by somebody else or they had taken it upon themselves to make a tactical decision because there was no other further place to retreat, that anyone who comes through that door dies until we're out of ammo. Right? That's basically what it looked like to me. But that guy, I didn't hear a lot of commands. I'm not saying that
because the audio is all coming from the side where the crowd is. So you're hearing.
But here is my problem. There were law enforcement on the back side of that door. There were guys with long guns.
I'm saying right there on the wall.
Right next to her on the backside that could have pulled her down and this wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah.
So again, I think this was a catastrophic failure of everyone involved in that. But I want to say something because if this was a BLM protester crawling through those windows or an Antifa person, she had the ability to listen. She had the ability to stop that. She escalated it going through there. If they told her they were going to kill her if she came through that door and she still came through that door, then it's on her.
Yes.
But she would have no reason to think that because everything before that was absolute false flags and bravado and no one did anything. So why wouldn't she keep going? right? I understand her mindset. Right,
Yeah.
I understand her mindset, and she gets an alibi because she's seen years of footage of that, and she'd encountered melting security as she came upon it, and all she wanted to do was go confront these senators and say, "Please give us 15 days." Like, I've weathered this storm. I'm willing to go to jail. I've been a veteran my whole life. I love this country. I bleed red, white, and blue. Please give us 15 days just to sort through this so we can heal and move forward. But because of whether poor messaging skills or the message wasn't being received or whatever, I don't know, she's dead, and that shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have happened, and these are the types of things that cause civil war, right? There's a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of heated rhetoric online going after cops and going after a lot of things, and I actually had somebody, I don't believe he was actually a cop, but he said he was a cop, and he went off of me and said they were coming for us, and all you Trumpers, you just killed a cop, the game's on, blah, 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 which sounded a lot like Antifa trying to, listen, I've been a cop. That's not the way I would talk. I would have, they're not that way. So if he was a cop, he shouldn't be a cop because he's unstable, which who would be a cop right now other than somebody close to retirement or somebody very unstable because they want the power because it's the most miserable job on the planet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to some texts up here.
Well, so Mike's just saying, Amy G says, I agree that Congress is garbage and I don't care about any of that either. I don't agree with killing or violence on good humans and men in blue. Mike says, I happen to agree with warning shots in a safe direction. Warning shots into the ground are a simple use of force. If she was shot simply climbing through a window, bad juju. No legal justification. I don't know, Mike, have you seen the videos from all the different angles? I mean, because
I have a video.
Minus hearing any context on what was said, yes, she was shot for simply climbing through a window.
From here to here to the camera, he literally is pointing the gun on her, maybe a couple more feet, maybe like here. He's pointing the gun at her, and then just pulls the trigger and kills her.
As she's climbing through,
as she's climbing
takes
through,
one step forward. So he's kind of aiming the gun on the window. And
he's aiming it at her head the whole time. And
I think he was probably keeping it at the window. And
no,
she
he's off to the
happens
side.
go
You got to
through.
remember, he's here on the side. The door is perpendicular, so he's aiming it on her. And as soon as she breaks the plane, he was given, I believe, I don't have any fact in this, but the way he behaved, as black and white as he behaved on this, meaning right, wrong, he was given an order. Anyone who comes through that. So when she broke the plane,
Night, Brandy. Thanks for joining us.
As soon as she broke the plane of the. And she was coming in. It was obvious she was coming in. He smoked her.
He stepped
He
forward.
murdered her. Justifiable murder, possibly, given who was behind that door and what was given on. And what?
I mean, if he was given those orders, would that cover his butt?
No, it depends. It depends. If he was just said, don't let anyone by here, and there was no reason for it. Like, if he thought Mike Pence was behind him, yes, because it's what he knew at that time, right? He would not be found in an excessive force there. But if they were just scared cops in a hallway, they're doomed.
I understand that. Scared cops in the hallway. I'm saying if he was told.
Line, please.
If he was told.
Do
not let anyone pass this.
If he was told
Whether
with context.
or not he knows who.
Well, if it was told it was context or somebody, because of the nature of the facility and because of the fact that it's national security things. No, he doesn't. But I think because what people understand is this is not San Francisco. This is not Boston. This is not Austin. This is not Florida. This is the capital of the United States. And there are people in here who are vital to national security. And that is a level of difficulty in the scale of protesting that these people who had no idea what they were dealing with. They thought they were dealing with,
the protesters.
The protesters. They thought they were dealing with one thing, and they were actually in a very dangerous situation where if they make any wrong decision, they're either going to do 20 years in prison or they're going to get smoked. And had they known that going into that, I don't think they would have done it. So let me get into some things here. So Benjamin, I want to reply to you. You've been typing a lot of stuff. Let me scroll up for the holy smokes. Okay. So this country has a very sinful nature and has turned its back on God. We are citizens of a country, yes, but we are also citizens of a kingdom. Our God is just and his will be done. Well, Benjamin, if he's going to judge our God, if God is going to judge us right now as our nation is, we're screwed. And we kill innocent babies. We condone immoral behavior. We sin against God every day. Our church, or churches, not my church, sin against God by embracing,
Yeah, you got some comment. I can't remember who piped in some comment about they found a church that doesn't judge.
Yeah, they found a church that doesn't judge, and they can do whatever they want. And wherever they're at, God will meet them wherever they're at. And I'm like, God may meet you wherever you're at, but if you're an unrepentant sinner, you're doomed. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm, if you're doing something contrary to what the book says, what the Bible says, and that is your lifestyle, and you think it is an enable because it brings you pleasure, you're not in line with what's going on.
Church not judging is synonymous for they condone your homosexuality, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So Wednesday was going to happen no matter what. Alinsky Tactics completely agree. It will be a golden age of criminals, but it will lead to their own destruction. Don't think God moves in linear pattern. Oh, I know in the end, no matter what happens here, whether me and Lauren and Baby B burn up in a fire tonight, I know where we're going to be at the end of this. But doesn't mean that I want my daughter to suffer. It doesn't mean that I don't want to enjoy everything that happened here. And that's the part that breaks my heart. It's like a mosh pit at that point. A little pushing and shoving is expected. Exactly. And Salty Sam is talking about when police meet protesters. Things happen.
Good night, Mike, and good night, Amy Jean. It sounds like you're going to sign off as well, too.
All right, so Bible
thanks,
study.
everybody, for joining us.
When Moses and Aaron spoke to Pharaoh, the first few times Pharaoh hardened his heart.
Yes.
The last few times it says God hardened Pharaoh's heart. I completely agree with you on that. God might be hardening these politicians for the ultimate destruction. That's the case, and I pray for God's mercy on my nation because I love my nation. Mm. I love my country. I love Americans, and I know China's the only one winning in all this right now. China's literally the only one winning. They're dividing us, and they're loving what's going on, and unfortunately, we don't have strong enough patriots to do the right thing to take over. And the left right now the left is willing to lose everything. They have been rioting and looting and burning and going to jail and killing cops and doing everything that they've scared society. And they've had a complicit media that is willing to do anything to cover for them. Whereas even the smallest thing that a Trump supporter does is considered the most vile thing. Let me continue down. What I found out was nobody tried to administer first aid to her. Actually, I did see that. Eventually, I saw CPR being done, and I saw some stuff, and I saw them carry her out, and I saw them fight for her. But having worked on people who've had brain shots or throat shots, or or people who when you come across a fatal injury and there's no hope, So, again, you're just trying to comfort and do what you can.
There's some angles of the videos that you can see them working on her, and they're calling for a medic, and then they do carry her out. So,
Rudy played the clip in his video today. I think that's great, but I'm a little pissed off at Rudy Giuliani right now. He made a lot of promises that he didn't pull through.
Which clip are you talking?
Probably the girl being shot. Yeah. Mike, right. We just said that warning shots in the ground are simple to use. The Jews, no reason to shoot a woman climbing.
We read that.
Okay. Good night. I have to work tomorrow. Sounds good. Benjamin, folks, please make sure your salvation is secure in Jesus Christ. We are seeing the groundwork for the end times here. I couldn't agree with you more there, Benjamin. Well, make sure that you repent for your sins. Make sure that you know your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And more importantly, that he knows you. Right. More importantly, that Jesus knows you.
Go watch on YouTube after you finish watching us. YouTube search "Shocking Sermon Paul Washer."
It's going to blow you away, and it's going to scare the bejesus out of you.
We're not saying everything he's saying is correct. I mean, I'm not educated enough to know, but it'll certainly make you think about whether you are in line for heaven.
Yeah. Not everyone who thinks they're going to heaven is going to heaven, and the gate or the door is narrow, depending on your translation, and not everyone's going to make it through there. So make sure that if you search out your heart and you're not repentant for your sin, you're in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in our modern times, with the sacrifice that our Lord and Savior Jesus did, the further we get away from that actual day, the cheaper it seems. And that sounds terrible, but You know, if you look at in the Old Testament where people were sacrificing bulls and goats and all these different things, those things cost money. Those things were like, holy smokes, this is going to bankrupt my family for me to get right with God. And then Jesus, the most purest, you know, amazing, awesome, you know, perfect human being that's ever been, and who is man and God at the same time, gives his life as a sacrifice for us. And all we have to say is, Jesus, please forgive me. You know, I accept you as my Lord and Savior. And I think that cheapens it some bit unless you invoke a visceral response to that.
Our society is so accepting of it now. So people don't realize in any kind of way that what they're doing is a sin or a bad one. You know, I mean, all of the gender sexuality stuff now and the sex outside of marriage and everything there. I mean, that's just part of culture now. People are committing those acts without even.
Well, they're not raised with any context.
That is a sin.
You know, I mean, coming from that side, coming from being a heathen, coming from being all that, it was never presented to me that there was any repercussions for that, or that wasn't like, I was raised in secular society where that was expected. Yeah. You know? So anyways, did you guys enjoy Friday night BYOB? I hope you did.
We did.
We did. This is the most fun we've had in a long time, which tells you how busy we've been. And it's the drunkest I've ever had Lauren here in probably 3 years. So we really, really, really enjoyed tonight. If you guys enjoyed it and you want us to do more of these, we're open to doing them. Just let us know, and we'll go off your feedback.
Our original crew has probably signed off largely.
They have. But obviously, I think by the amount of participation we got, I think they enjoyed it. But again, we'll follow up with you guys. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more content like this where we hang out, have drinks, and enjoy ourselves on Friday night, we'd be willing to do that and to move our 11 o'clock segment only to an evening segment. Remember, on Mondays, we're on at 11. On Wednesdays, we do biblical life support with Pastor Ken Graves most Wednesdays. And I would like to move this to the evening to reach a different crowd and to show that we're not all uptight and that you can actually have a good time and be a Christian.
You got it. Drink some water.
Check your phone. I sent you a text. This was fun. Still have to remember to enjoy life and laugh. Exactly. That's the way my voice sounds. I talk so much. Are you guys up?
Drink some water as far as the wine goes.
Yeah.
No, because of your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to pray us out.
For next week, are we doing 11 or?
Let's move the time to accommodate your schedule.
No nanny, because someone went and got exposed to COVID in the rally. So
we don't know for a fact.
On Monday, she's not coming. So 2 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Is what we're going to do.
Is what we're going to be doing, at least for next week.
Monday, hopefully 11 with Ken on Wednesday. And then maybe we'll be doing the evening on Friday. It would be kind of cool.
We'll put out an updated schedule for you. Stand by.
Thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you. And I'm going to pray us out. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you now as a broken nation with sad hearts. Lord, we know that you have a master plan that is you. You know what's to come and that we don't, and we trust in you, Lord. I just ask that you bring peace to everyone watching this now, that you put your presence on everyone and let them know that everything's going to be okay and that this is your will being done. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right.
Have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
Happy
See
Friday.
you guys on Monday.
Cheers with whichever beverage you choose.
Oh, wait. Strength and honor.
Oh, no.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
No.
Strength and honor.
Sips.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.